Well, hello there. Christopher Scott here. Thanks for joining me for another one of these devotions that I've been reading to you and sharing with you from the book of Romans. Today's devotion is titled God's Transformation, and it's based on Romans chapter 12, verse 2. So let me share today's devotional with you. Hope you're enjoying these. If you're new to joining me for these devotions, there's a link down there in the description that you can click on and will take you to the playlist of all these devotions I've been doing in the book of Romans. Okay, so God's transformation. I became a Christian at age 23. Before that, I had enjoyed large quantities of beer and other non-Christian activities that often accompanied drunkenness. But when I became a Christian, I started studying my Bible regularly, attending church, and spent time with other Christians. Those activities started to change my thinking and my behavior. I didn't realize it at first, but my mind was being transformed by God. Paul told the believers in Rome, "And do not be conformed," this is in Romans chapter 12, verse 2. Paul told those believers in Rome, "And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you may prove what the will of God is, that which is good and acceptable and perfect." That's from the New American Standard Bible. The instruction that Paul provides here when he says, "not be conformed to this world," that phrase is something all Christians must resist. The world's entertainment, advertisements, and sports all direct our attention anywhere other than God. I'm not saying that those things are bad and that we can't participate in, but they often just simply take our attention off of God and put it on something else. Instead, Paul tells us as Christians that we need to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. The word transformed here is a continual process of change from the inside out. The same Greek word is used in Matthew 17, chapter 2, when Jesus took Peter, James, and John up to a mountain, and the text says, Jesus was transfigured before them, and his face shone like the sun, and his garments became as white as light. Paul tells us we need to be completely changed and in effect be reprogrammed to think and act differently. The best way I know to be transformed is by memorizing Scripture. It can be hard to memorize Scripture if there's no context for it or need. Therefore, to successfully memorize Scripture, you must incorporate it into your daily life. For example, I struggle with not feeling important and valuable as a pastor at our church. When people don't respect me or don't include me in the important ministries of our church, I feel discouraged and not valuable. I've been trying to memorize Ephesians chapter 1, verses 4 through 7. It's a long passage, but I've been trying to memorize that. Every time I feel discouraged and not important, I recite those verses as a reminder that my worth comes from God, not from how others treat me or from the ministry I do as a pastor. Scripture memory can help us with various situations that we face. Perhaps you need to reconcile a relationship with someone, but find it difficult to restore that relationship. Consider memorizing Romans chapter 12, verse 18. Or you feel that you're being spiritually attacked, then you need to memorize Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. If there are people you find yourself constantly judging and you want to stop, then memorize Philippians 3:9. Maybe you want to talk to people about God, but you're not sure how to share your faith and how to share the gospel, then you need to memorize Romans 10, verses 9 and 10. Are we being conformed and transformed, as this passage says, conformed and transformed? I hope and pray we can memorize Scripture and be transformed because, as Paul told us, it is the will of God which is good, acceptable, and perfect. Thanks again for watching me for this brief devotional. Hope to catch you again for another video.